Hi friends, I want to share a little wisdom with you from the Wise Women's Circle gathering that I just had this morning for the Pisces New Moon. Each month I gather with women for an exploration of the astrology and reflect on how the energy is moving through our lives. And this particular new moon brought up some really powerful themes that I felt was important, so I wanted to share it with you all here as well. This Pisces new moon occurs at 28 degrees of Pisces, the very end of the zodiac. So energetically, we're all standing at this threshold, the closing of one cycle and the preparation for another. And with the spring equinox just a few days away, we're literally moving from the final waters of Pisces into the fire of Aries. So this moment carries both completion and endings, and rebirth and new emergence. It's a moment for reflection, surrender, and also preparing to step forward in a new way. The Pisces Invitation is surrender and trust, which I know is not easy. Pisces energy asks us to soften and take it easy. It asks us to release control of what we cannot control. And in the world right now, there's so much happening collectively that can really pull us into fear and overwhelm and emotional exhaustion. But Pisces reminds us that the greatest strength isn't found in forcing those outcomes. It's found in faith, trust, and spiritual alignment. This new moon is inviting us to pause and ask ourselves a few things. First, where do I need to stop pushing and start trusting? And where do I need to surrender what is not mine to carry anymore? Another piece of this chart, Mercury is still retrograde, but it's stationing with this Aries ingress on March 20th. So mentally and emotionally, things may still feel a bit foggy. We may not have all the answers yet, but hang in there because the fog is lifting and clarity is on its way. I know our plans may not feel fully formed, and that's actually okay because Mercury retrograde is still asking us for that final review, that final reflection, reassessment, rather than pushing forward before we're actually ready. So if you feel like you're still in the waters processing something, that's okay. It's part of the process and you're right on time still. We're still in this time of listening inward rather than forcing outward. At the same time, there is a lot of fire energy building in the chart already. We have Venus in Aries, we have Chiron in Aries, Eris in Aries, as well as Saturn and Neptune. All of this is really significant because Aries is the archetype of the selfhood, courage, and sovereignty. So even while this Pisces new moon asks us to kind of soften and surrender, the sky is also preparing us for something else. A new cycle of personal authority, a new relationship with our own power. And this is where a lot of the deeper healing work is happening right now, and particularly for women. One of the themes that came up strongly in our circle was the sense that the feminine is feeling pretty fired up and under pressure right now. But pressure doesn't always mean something's wrong. Sometimes pressure is what creates transformation. For women, this moment is activating the deeper authority wound, the places where we were taught to doubt ourselves, and where we learned that someone else had more authority over our lives or our choices or our voice than we did. And often this goes all the way back to the father archetype or the structures of the patriarchal system we were raised in. Saturn especially represents these structures of authority. So as Saturn moves through Aries, the sign of self, something very powerful is beginning to happen. We start asking deeper questions like, where have I given away my authority? Where have I over-obligated myself? Or Where have I taken responsibility for everyone else but not myself? And where am I ready to stand more firmly in my own truth? Now here's where the beautiful support in the chart is. Mars in Pisces is making a beautiful flow trine to Jupiter in Cancer, now direct. Mars is the ruler of all that Aries energy building in the sky. So all that fire, all that pressure is actually being guided through Pisces compassion and emotional wisdom. This is not about fighting. It's not about domination. It's not about becoming the very thing we're trying to heal. Instead, the invitation is take action in ways that nurture and protect your emotional well-being. Take action that supports your home, your body, your spirit. Jupiter in Cancer reminds us that true expansion begins with emotional safety and nourishment. So the most powerful action you can take right now may actually be something very simple, like rest, like setting a boundary, asking for support, and taking care of yourself. Another really interesting piece of this new moon chart is Uranus at 28 degrees of Taurus. Uranus brings awakening, breakthroughs, and oftentimes, shocks and surprises. So we may suddenly realize something about a relationship, and sometimes the support we need can show up unexpectedly as well in really beautiful ways. Someone may step in to help, a conversation may shift something, or you may simply have a moment of clarity where you realize, I don't have to keep doing things the way I've always done them. During the circle gathering, I pulled some oracle cards, and I pulled an angel card for the group. And the card that came forward was Life Review. How perfect, right? It felt really incredibly aligned for the moment, because Pisces at the very end of the zodiac often brings up this moment of looking back before we can move forward. This is the energetic and literal end of winter, the time where we reflect on, what have I learned? What am I ready to release? What patterns and obligations no longer belong in the next chapter of my life? And as we move toward the Aries equinox, a new fire is beginning, and a new motivation, a new direction. But before we rush into the next chapter, this new moon invites us to pause and reflect and clear emotional space for what is truly aligned with who you are becoming. Here are a few questions you might want to reflect on during this Pisces new moon. Ask yourself, where in my life have I taken on too much responsibility? Where do I need to restore balance between myself and others? And what am I ready to release so I can move forward with greater freedom? And where is life inviting me to stand a little more firmly in my inner authority? Not in a way that pushes others away, but in a way that honors both self-respect and mutual respect. If you feel called, I would love to hear from you. What came up for you during this reflection? Is there an area of your life where you feel you're being invited to reclaim sovereignty or personal authority right now, or create more balance in your life? And if you enjoy this kind of reflection and astrology guidance, this is exactly what we explore each month inside the Wise Women Circle. So if you're ever interested in joining, just comment or you can email me. So thank you for being here. Thank you for reflecting with me. And I wish you all a beautiful and restorative Pisces new moon.